Hi guys, welcome to the first of MPC's Q&A sessions on videos. My name is Spencer, I'm one of the trainers down here. We got asked a while back if we would answer a couple of video questions, so we thought, yeah, that sounds like quite a good idea, so we threw it out on Facebook. If you've got any questions, just send them in and we'll try and cover them, see if it can be of any help for other people as well. We had a few, which is great. We still want more. If you want to put in the comment section any questions that you've got, or if you don't want it to be public, just inbox us with some questions and we'll try and cover them on the video. The first one that we plucked out is actually quite a difficult one to answer, typically. But we'll give it a crack. We'll see if we can help. The person basically is asking about how you should change your portion or your nutrition needs in relation to the amount of exercise that you do. It's quite a difficult question because without knowing who that person is and what their actual goals are, it can be quite difficult. I think the big thing is that your portion control needs to enable you to be refueling enough during your sessions. But if your goal is to lose body mass or to lose body fat, there does still need to be a deficit between what you are burning in terms of calories and what you're putting in terms of calories. But we tend to sort of encourage people to make quite a steady change rather than anything big and dramatic. So just tweaking your portion sizes works a treat for most people. We're not talking about people that are at pro sports level. We're not talking about people that are at physique competitions. That's very, very much further down the rabbit hole of nutrition and exercise. But for most people, tweaking their portion control, and we often bang on about plate size, constantly bang on about plate size. The smaller the plate, the less you're going to eat. Cornell Food Lab have done some great studies on this. Google it. We'll maybe try and put a little link out to it as well on how your plate, how your bowl will affect the amount of fuel that you'll put in your body. So tweaking that might be quite helpful if you're trying to lose a little bit of body fat. But in relation to the performance side of exercise, I think this person may be getting it. They have stopped physically seeing a change, or they've stopped physically seeing an improvement in how they look. Maybe looking in the mirror, maybe just using scales, which is a really bad idea. Try and look at things like dress sizes as well. Look at body composition tests, skin fold tests, just a simple selfie, and compare that maybe every 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Is better than just using scales. But if that's happened and they've been doing all of that and they've kind of almost ground to a halt, then that would say to me that there's a change needed with their nutrition again. That's quite common with people that have lost quite a lot of body weight. So if they've already lost maybe 5, 10, 15 kilos and their body's kind of sort of starting to plateau off, they've made the changes initially, it all was going very, very well, and now it's kind of hovering, they want to make changes again. It really is almost just applying those same things which they did in the early stages. So slightly increasing the intensity of the exercises, maybe putting some resistance training in, some body weight training in, and making a slight tweak to the portion size, because your body has got used to the level of exertion that you're giving it, and it's balanced that out with the nutrition that it's getting in. So if it's just about the way that you look rather than how you feel, I would say there's a probability that there's still too many calories going in, or there's just the right amount of calories to keep you at that current level. To make a further change to the way you look or the way your body composition is, you need to tweak that. You need to tweak the nutrition again, or conversely, you could maybe increase the intensity of the exercises that you're doing. It's kind of one of the reasons why we use MyZone quite a lot, the heart rate belts. You can quickly scroll back through your sessions and see that you're still working at a high intensity. The body's very, very good at adapting to the stress that you put on it, so it will find things easier as you do it more often. So using a MyZone is a great way to kind of ensure that you're still training at a high output. But the portion and the tweaking the nutrition is often a little bit easier to do, and it doesn't need to be big. I mean, again, 100 calories here, 200 calories over the course of a day is quite easy to tweak. And that's often what's needed, just slightly reducing the portions again, like I say, if they've lost that amount of weight in the first place. On the flip side to that, if it's more the way you feel that's sort of maybe not getting any better, or you feel as though your performance is not moving forward, or you're not getting stronger, you're not getting fitter, and the exercise is good, then that points directly to things like lack of sleep, or quite likely the nutrition's not right. You see that quite a lot with people that have been training for quite a long while. They just sort of plateau off. And I think people are quite scared to put extra fuel in. They're worried they're going to start getting fatter again. I think if you're training and it's good quality fuels going in, and it's kind of focus on the nutritional value of the stuff that you're putting in, try and think good lean proteins, complex carbohydrates, things like porridge oats, whole grains, whole things like that, is a really, really good way of kind of increasing the nutrient density that you're getting to help your body to actually recover. If you want to get stronger, faster, higher performance, yes, it's the training, but the nutrition does need to change. So if you feel tired all the time, if you feel as though you don't want to train, if kind of the performance isn't improving, yeah, definitely have a look at your nutrition. That's actually harder to advise somebody on than the other side of it, because I think once you start to look at the performance aspect of it, that's really where nutritionalists come in, people that have done this and this is what they do for their job. They can have a meeting with you, they can talk about what it is that you're trying to do. So I think if it's more of a, you feel as though you're sort of stuttering too much and you're stagnating quite a lot in your training, it would be worth speaking to a nutritionalist. We know a few people that do this for a job. It's not cheap, but you don't need to do it very often. It's one of those investments that if you're very serious about your fitness, we would strongly recommend that you look at that. So I think if it's more of a cosmetic thing, if you're thinking that you're sort of plateaued off, the portions need tweaking again, probably. It's just starting to reduce that down a little bit. It is unlikely that you're eating too little if it's just a cosmetic thing. If you feel fine, if you're still seeing these improvements in your fitness, I would say you're not eating too little. If on the flip side you feel as though you are not seeing these improvements on your performance and fitness, I would say that's the time to maybe look at your nutrition in a bit more detail. Give it 3 or 4 months, do your own research on it, try and think, can I improve my diet? Am I putting the best quality foods and supplements and things in? If you try that for a few months and still not getting any joy, that's when I would probably look at speaking to a nutritionalist. I think really that's where they kind of come in. They are traditionally at sport level, but they can help anybody. So hopefully that maybe have answered the question a little bit. I'm quite keen with this person to speak with them again. I'd like to see where that is actually going and advise them in a little bit more detail. But yeah, I would say in a nutshell, if it's feelings and lack of performance, that's probably not enough food or not enough good quality food going in. If it's more of a cosmetic thing that's suffering, but not tiredness and not overtraining type symptoms, that's probably needs to be tweaking the nutrition slightly down a bit. So on one hand, you might be turning it up, and on one hand, you might be turning it back down. So this is why it was quite a hard question. But hopefully that's helped. If not, drop us a message. We'll elaborate. We'll put you in touch with the people that can perhaps help you a little bit more. Thank you very much. That'll do for the first one. Please send any of the questions that you've got in if they're relating to fitness. We've got a few coming up on things like HIIT training versus ordinary steady state that we'll go through. Some strength training, is it good for people to do, blah, blah, blah. So we'll answer in those anyway, but please send in more questions. The more we've got, the more that we can answer, and hopefully the more we'll get into this. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.